Welcome back to the VG Challenge here at Balance Pets. We are bringing you some more exciting Pokemon battles as we near our round 5 here. And now, I'm
Les
joined here by.
Keon, here I am back again. This one's really interesting. We've got a Hydreigon mirror match. Fun fact, yesterday morning I won a Limitless tournament with Hydreigon, albeit with a very different set, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what Liam and Adam will be taking with their sets and their six in this tournament
It's
today.
very interesting. The iDragons, similar sets, they both running Life Orb here, which is pretty cool. However, Adam's side is opting to use this Heat Wave option on their Hydreigon, which is obviously a spread move to hit 2 targets. But it's interesting to see when you compare it to the Hydreigon on the other side. We'll get to that in a second. But going over Adam's team, we have Murkrow here and Maushold, Annihilate, Common Core. Of course, partnered along with Goldango and Primarina. How do you think about this team?
I think that this team's really interesting because it goes for a lot of options in setup. You have the Annihilate with Bulk Up and also the Maushold, and you have a Calm Mind Primarina. As you have Haze on the Murkrow, you kind of get a little bit more flexibility with that 4th move slot, opting for more of a setup, putting a lot of stake in this Maushold to support your setup as you don't have any fake out options in these Pokemon.
Absolutely.
So combining the Murkrow's Tailwind option with these super hard hitting, a little bit slower setup mons in the Primarina. This is a really well-rounded out team,
Absolutely.
and I'm looking forward to seeing if Liam has any techs to counter all of that.
Now, looking over here at Liam's build, of course, we were just talking about Hydreigon, but noticeably, we don't have Heat Wave here. We have Flamethrower instead. So all these moves are directly single-targeted. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like there was any real ways to hit multiple Pokemon with this Hydreigon, so Follow Me from that Maushold could end up being pivotal and something that Adam might want to take advantage of. Of course, going over the rest of the team, we have Sneasler, Hydreigon, Gengar, which is really cool, Goldango, and Rillaboom. I love Gengar because of its ability to use Haze and Taunt and Icy Wind. Just very, very powerful moves to have on a very fast Pokemon like a Gengar, of course. And you can never go wrong with Shadow Ball Stab.
Yeah, I think that the Maushold is going to, in particular, be really strong here, as there are not that many options for all these single target moves are going to get redirected at least twice because of that focus sash. So looking at this Gengar, we also notice that both of the teams have very unique hazers in Murkrow and Gengar. A lot of counterplay to each other's setup, whether it be Liam's side with their Nasty Plot Goldengo, Grassy Seed Sneasler, or even like the offset of the drops with the Incineroar's Intimidate, or all of the setup threats on Adam's side. But we are about to get into this set, and we're going to see which Hydreigon will take the other further.
Oh man, I love duos for this one. Mirror matches are hype for me. I want to see them both come in. I want to see who uses the better Hydreigon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I do think Adam has his work cut out for him here. There is that really powerful Sneasler in play. He doesn't have one of his own, and Sneasler is known for dominating matches. So how do you approach this matchup is what Adam's going to try and figure out here. As we see the Sneasler come into play with that Rillaboom right now. Murkrow and Goldango being the other choice here.
Yeah, this is a very smart lead coming out from Liam. You instantly have so much pressure, especially in a matchup where explicitly the speed control is more in Adam's favor.
Yep.
But with that Unburdened Sneasler, depending on the EVs, in many cases, even with Tailwind up, you're going to be faster than this Goldango, than this Murkrow. But the issue arises in the fact that as the Sneasler set, since they're not opting for Throat Chop and instead Acrobatics as that last move, you don't have much to threaten this Goldango outside of that Rillaboom's high horsepower.
Absolutely. So it's going to be interesting to see what Sneasler does here. There is the option for like a Dire Claw into something for a hope of status, like Murkrow, for instance.
Yeah.
Maybe trying to go for a sleep or some kind of status in that way, but I don't know how effective that's going to be in the first round here, as we do see the terrestrialization coming out here, and it's going to be that fire typing.
Yeah, Liam kind of recognizing that Sneasler doesn't really have a purpose just yet, and that they need to preserve this Rillaboom in order to clear something, anything off of this board for the Sneasler to start doing damage, even in that opposing Tailwind. As we see Goldango go for the Make It Rain.
Sneasler does protect itself here, and it's not going to do a ton of damage to this Rillaboom, thankfully, because we have this resistance now. But now, what is this? High horsepower
Going for the high
into the
horsepower?
Goldango. Okay, that's pretty big. That's a lot of damage on this Goldango now. So you're going to be a little bit more careful with what this thing's going to do in the next turn. But maybe we're going to see a switch out here for that Sneasler, which is an opportunity to take advantage of that slot right now. And that's kind of what I want to see come out from this for Adam.
Yeah, and if you're in Liam's position now, the Goldengo does seem kind of susceptible to something like a double up of the Grassy Glide and the Acrobatics from the Sneasler. It being a Choice Specs Mon means that it doesn't have the room to protect in this matchup. And in this sort of match where you don't have an opposing Tailwind, the only thing that you can leverage is just trying to speed blitz even past that with priority, with Unburden. So Adam now kind of realizing this play is a little bit on the back foot despite having such an oppressive turn one.
There goes the careful nature I was just talking about earlier as we see Goldango coming out for this Annihilate. One thing you do have to be careful, though, is you got to deal with that Murkrow in some way. We didn't want the poison here. It's still going to be doing some nice DOT damage, just giving us a little bit of chip.
Ooh,
but that's what I was scared of.
That Murkrow critical hit.
Yes, foul play doing massive amounts of damage.
And that doing so much more damage, too.
Ooh, this has been a little too... the recoil going to take out your Terra Pokemon choice here, and that's not what you wanted to see at all. But, hey, that critical hit from foul play just doing dividends of work for you.
Yeah,
this is exactly why I was scared, right? You can't ignore this Murkrow. Foul play does so much damage, especially when you have a Pokemon with a lot of attack stats involved.
Yeah, and so now that the Terastallization option has been it's done and over with on Liam, now we see the Hydreigon coming in. Oof. Yeah, I still kind of wonder what's going to happen here because that Annihilate didn't really want to take all of that chip damage. Now that you're in Tailwind, you have that option of going for something like the Drain Punch on the Hydreigon, but just as well the Hydreigon can protect and Sneasler can go for potentially a knockout or a status pressure onto that Annihilate.
I gotta say, I like the idea of a Quash here or even a swap out. It's going back into Goldango. I think that could be okay. Quash could be pretty cool, allowing you to get some really nice, cheeky damage in on something like this Sneasler. But whatever goes into that slot you choose, it has to be doing a knockout at this point because you're so far behind. Look at your team. You have most of your team in yellow health below half. So you really have to be careful with this Murkrow right now. As we see the switch out, coming back in will be this Goldango.
And let's see what it can do. I mean, I wonder what's going to... Yeah, Hydreigon going for the Protect.
That's not bad. That's not bad. That means that you do have an opportunity to do some massive
And the
damage.
Acrobatics coming out gets the knockout on the Annihilate. That's the power of Sneasler's super strong attack stat combined with Unburden, letting it free up that Grassy Seed, letting it get that defense boost and a little implicit attack boost with the Acrobatics being doubled in power. Now, Murkrow coming back in. What can it do?
I don't think a whole lot. I mean, you do have the ability to go for Quash. Tailwind could be an option as well if you don't already have that up, of course.
I believe this may be the last turn of Tailwind.
Yeah, so Quash is definitely an interesting go for here because Foul Play's not going to be doing too much going into Hydreigon, and I believe Sneasler does resist it as a fighting type.
Yeah.
So it's not going to do too much there either. So it really might have to come down to this Quash, and yeah, Haze is not going to do anything here either. So
yeah, in Adam's position, he's able to click just this Terra Steel Choice Specs Make It Rain, but everything else on Liam's team can kind of tank it on the switch-in. But going for that Goldango on the switch-in, that will be able to do pretty well into this incoming Make It Rain. Let's see what happens. Adam going for that comfortable terrestrialization of Steel on the Goldango, knowing that Liam's not going to anticipate any sort of terrestrialization, going for that close combat, and just trying to get that damage off. Sneasler instead
good
protecting.
Protect here. Very good Protect. I think you want to preserve the Sneasler just a little bit while longer. Make It Rain's not going to do a significant portion of damage to this Goldango either. So this definitely was the right play.
With
Get
that
some
Terra
chip damage,
Steel.
but you're going to lose that special attack.
Ooh, that does about half. Let's see. What did Murkrow go for? It didn't go for a status move. It had to go
Nope.
for foul play, and it goes into the Golden Go.
Ooh, nice Fuzzy! Not going to get the knockout here, which
Yeah.
could be very huge for Liam. This is very bad for Adam here. We definitely wanted to see a knockout in that Goldango slot, but now we have an opportunity to go for attack, and your own Tailwind is out now. So the best thing you can probably do is go for another Tailwind, and hopefully that's going to be enough.
I see another play that can be made here. If you're confident enough in your Goldengo speed tier, you could even get away with going for something like the Quash on the Sneasler and just going for a Terra Steel, make it rain. You know you clear that Goldengo. You know that the Sneasler is going to drop to it even after the drop. That's a play that I could see, especially with the Hydreigon not being out. You know that you're going to be faster.
It really all comes down to the speed stats of both Pokemon. And obviously, if you know your own Pokemon hasn't been trained to be especially speedy, that's not an option you're going to want to go for, which is why we do see this swap out happening right now. And they're going to be bringing back in this Maushold. Hopefully, a Shadow Ball going into that slot is preferred. It just protects, which is still pretty good because now we got Maushold in relatively for free, and you're not going to be clicking a fighting move into a Goldango slot anyway. So this is actually a pretty decent play here.
Yeah.
Close combat. It does! No! Wait, what a read! What a read! He said, yeah, you're going to switch out. No big deal. I'm going to go for this close combat and get my value real quick.
Yeah, I guess he had a pretty good reason to do that now that the Goldengo was a pure steel type. He was able to click that close combat relatively comfortably, thinking, okay, this Murkrow isn't much of a threat. But if they had gone for something like that Quash plus Make It Rain, putting a lot of stake in the fact that Sneasler would live that hit. So it gives rise to the question of how invested that Sneasler could potentially be.
Beat Up here is an interesting choice that should definitely be enough to get a knockout on Goldango if that's what we want to lock in. It just comes back down to this Tailwind or our Tailwind setter. Murkrow's just not doing a whole lot. You could go for the foul play here. It's a resisted on Sneasler.
Yeah.
Quash is pretty interesting here, just so you can go ahead and get that knockout on Goldango earlier, and then worry about whatever Pokemon you lose and bring back in Goldango.
Yeah.
But switching in Goldango here, I feel like isn't necessarily the right choice because you want as much HP on that Pokemon as possible. Okay, Protect coming out here is pretty good. Now, if we did in fact go for a double into this Goldango, there's the Quash.
There's the Quash going straight into that Sneasler, making sure that it wasn't going to move first, no matter the speed tiers. And now we see the Maushold's beat up. One hit. Two hit? Will the third hit do it?
That's got to be it.
Oh!
Wow! Or you just get two.
Wait.
Oh, is it based on the...
Oh, you know what? Because I think one of the Pokemon is status.
Knocked out.
I'm not entirely sure because there are 3 Pokemon, but I think it's because one of them is afflicted with status or...
Oh, it has something to do with status.
If that's how it works. Honestly, these are so many niche interactions coming up that I did not do my work in researching before this set. But I will make sure it'll be better for next time. But anyways, the key point is that Goldango ended up living that turn of the beat-ups. And I think without going for that Quash play earlier, there isn't much you can do about the Sneasler, even with your own Tailwind up. If you can lock a board state in which, you know, you have the Maushold and the Goldango on the field together and you can redirect maybe while you click Make It Rain, that seems like the only insurance you have against this full health Sneasler at this point. Even with the drop defenses, I mean, you can only do so much.
Here we go. We have a Protect here, trying to make sure our Maushold holds out the next turn over. Direct Claw going to be going into that Protect. Very good call here. Going to just not take too much damage there. And now Foul Play going in. Going to finish off Goldango.
Okay.
Very nicely done. But that's going to bring back in this Hydreigon, who's going to be in a prime position to start pushing out a ton of damage.
And
once
so Murkrow
again.
taking that poison damage actually gets knocked out and puts Adam in that board state that I described.
Yep.
You're able to have the Maushold and the Goldango together, and the only thing that you can possibly do, you could stall out the Tailwind, sure, but you have to be very confident in how fast your Hydreigon is and it being able to be faster than a Choice Specs Goldango, which in most cases, especially on these Tailwind teams, they tech to be very fast.
They definitely do. Now, it's not uncommon to have a lot of investment in your speed as a Hydreigon user, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Here we go.
I think this is a pretty safe turn to go for those double protects, kind of stalling out that last turn of Tailwind, hoping that you can play around these speed tiers.
And there goes, as we alluded to way earlier,
Yeah.
that follow me now is a factor you have to deal with, as Hydreigon only has these single targeted moves on this side.
Exactly.
So now we have to deal with this in some unique way to get the results we desire. Now,
As we see, the Tailwind did just expire, so it really comes down to the speed of this Hydreigon.
Sneasler's going to be able to get a hit off before any other Pokemon.
That's for sure.
What attack are you going to go for? It's got to at least take out this Maushold before. There's not a lot of HP on Maushold, so maybe that should just be enough. Close combat is the choice. Okay, down that goes, but now your defenses are slightly lower, which is a little scary because this Goldengo is primed for attack. It all comes down to speed tiers here.
Let's see what happens.
And
Ooh,
it's
okay.
going to be
The
the
Hydreigon
Hydreigon
comes
going
in.
first. That's a lot of speed.
Oh my
We invested
goodness.
in this speed here for Hydreigon, and that's going to seal the deal here.
Yeah.
Very well done by Liam, and now Adam on the back foot, down a game.
Yeah, that was an incredible way to play around the Tailwind. I mean, sure, Liam did kind of use up their terrestrialization relatively early,
Yes,
but
yes.
they were allowed to just leverage so much pressure with that turbo fast Sneasler on the field that you really did not have an efficient answer to.
No.
And so if I'm Adam, I'm thinking, wow, like Tailwind was not all that valuable during this matchup. Should I instead kind of rely on that mouse hold mode, try and go for a setup pressure that allows for my Pokemon to eventually outpace regardless of speed tiers? It's a very interesting matchup on both sides.
Yeah, it's a very tough situation to be in for both players. Now, you're really looking at this as Adam, and you're just thinking, that speed tier, as you said, it didn't work out for me, so what do I go with? We do see them locking Goldengo back in. I think Goldengo was astounding in this matchup. It did a lot of work for Adam over here. But now it's like, what is it that we actually want to bring in alongside this?
Yeah.
I don't know if Primarina is a very good bring into this matchup, especially when you see that your opponent has that Gengar, has that Rillaboom, has all these really powerful attacks that can go into that. Yeah, bring it in. It's not quite fast either. Not the
Yeah.
matchup for it. So you can obviously rule that out for this matchup. Maybe we see the same for Pokemon. I'm not sure.
I wonder if Adam was just banking on sort of like a different game plan coming from Liam. Because honestly, in this matchup, I could see the Primarina coming, but I feel like the other mons also too feel pretty important. And if you're
Yes,
playing like the
yes.
bulky and the speed game, where you just spent an entire game getting pressured by a Sneasler,
Yeah.
maybe bringing that Primarina that's a bit weaker on the physical side isn't going to be the best play. But
Right.
we're going to see how these players adapt. Liam going for that Sneasler and Hydreigon lead into the same two from Adam.
Okay, so it's looking like the repeat here. What I believe Hydreigon didn't lead in the first game, actually, now that I'm
Did
thinking
it?
about it. So
Oh, it was. Yeah. I know that the Goldengo and Murkrow led on Adam's side, but this time going for Sneasler and Hydreigon instead of that Sneasler and that Rillaboom.
Yes,
so
yes.
Sneasler does not instantly have the speed advantage, but you can assume as Adam, with how much it rolled over the Tailwind in the previous game, that it's got to be back there.
I do think clicking Tailwind first turn, especially with Sneasler on board, is irrelevant because you're not going to be faster regardless.
Yeah.
Maybe we start going for some pressuring plays early on. Or being faster than Hydreigon is also significant, I guess, but I just don't know. Well, in the last game, we did
Okay,
just find out.
so the Hydreigon is going for the Fire Terrestrialization this
boy.
turn. Terrestrializing out of that neutrality
Oh,
to
boy.
make it rain, but also making yourself neutral to the Shadow Ball.
This is not what you want to see. That means there is a flamethrower
going
coming
for the
into that
protect.
Goldango slot, and Tailwind being set up, not doing anything much for you either, because these Pokemon, well, especially Sneasler, is
And
already
Goldengo
faster.
calling the Terra, going for that
Okay.
Shadow Ball.
Okay,
Let's see how much
nice.
damage this does. Oh,
Not enough. Special defense
with a
drop
special
is
defense
okay,
drop,
but
though.
the
That Terra
flamethrower.
Fire Flamethrower is going to do so much damage with that Life Orb. I am unsure if this Goldengo is going to live it.
Oh,
And
not
it's a
at all. Not even
one-hit
close.
knockout with a critical hit. Honestly, I don't think that
I don't
matters.
think it mattered. No, for sure. I don't think that mattered, boy. We out here now.
Yeah. But now, you see Adam's backline, and his only offensive threat left is that Annihilate.
You know, Annihilate Maushold being together on board is a lot more pressure in the early game, I feel like. But now we have the awkward positioning because Murkrow is in play instead of that Maushold. So
Yeah.
we don't have the beat-up strat right away. You could go for something like a bulk up here, but it just doesn't feel as good when you're staring down a Hydreigon.
Yeah, I think that's a bit too passive of a play. You're wasting your own Tailwind turns, and you're facing two Pokemon that, if left unchecked, can really just give you that one-hit KO. So I think that Murkrow has to go on the offensive this turn.
Yes,
It
yes.
has to try and clear that Hydreigon, or at least make it protect or switch, just so that Annihilate can get more leverage out of setting up if it opts to do that this turn. And
Okay,
so,
swapping out the Hydreigon here, bringing in Rillaboom, going to be setting up this grassy terrain, give a little bit of recover to its partner, of course. But the sash wasn't broken in the first place, so it's not quite clear.
crucially, that Grassy Seed gets activated on Sneasler, and now, in most cases, that should be faster than the Annihilate. Going
There's
for
Dire
Dire
Claw. Do we get the sleep here?
Paralysis.
Paralysis. Okay.
Honestly, that's like the middle ground. Like,
Yes.
you're okay getting poisoned. You're not okay getting slept.
No, you're
but
not okay with
paralysis, at least there's a little you can play around with that.
A percentage chance not to do anything is still scary, though. Rillaboom taking a nice chunk of damage, but getting that recovery back, as we said earlier, from that grassy terrain. So
even without that critical hit prior, that foul play still does a ton of damage around half, and that tells you just how offensive this Rillaboom is using its attack stat. It's a dangerous, dangerous threat.
it looks like they're locking in that bulk up I talked a little bit about earlier. I'm not sure if you have the time to really be going for that. Is it really safe? You're going to end up taking a ton of damage on this Annihilate in the next turn.
The thing is, you are putting so much stake into this Annihilate. It's your only offensive threat really left. And so while it does make sense to continue to go for these boosts against all of these physical Pokemon, it makes it such a challenge. Going for the fake out.
Reading a terrestrialization here. Not going to get it. Super effective damage from it. It was just a cover. I like the play. I like the strategy. Bulk up will come into play now. But Murkrow's going to be free to do another helping of damage, and it will be going back into that Rillaboom. Not enough for a KO.
Big chunk of damage, yeah. And now, you think about it, that Annihilate has that extra stack of Rage Fist along with its +2 in its attack stat. It can really start threatening KOs on this field, and especially with the leftovers and the grassy terrain given by the opponent, it has a lot of options to just continue to recover where this Murkrow can just keep doing damage. But honestly, in this last turn of Tailwind, we've seen how passive Liam's been playing in order to punish these Tailwinds. And so it'll be really interesting to see how they play around this.
I kind of like the idea of trying to go for a one-hit knockout on Sneasler. I'm not sure if it's the most bulky Pokemon in the world, but a Rage Fist after one knocked out Pokemon might not be enough to do it either. So this is probably why we see the foul play coming into their mind here, but I'm not sure if... I do like the idea of Quash. They're going for it. They're going for a Grassy Glide.
The Grassy Glide into the Murkrow instead. As Murkrow goes for Quash into the Sneasler.
It all comes down to this big damage. Or Kian, are we going to see it? I don't know.
Think this +2 Rage Fist with that 100 damage base power, is it enough?
No, not enough. The survival here, close combat going into Murkrow. That's a big turnaround. That's really not what you want here if you're Adam. That was a lot of investment to not get anything that you wanted out of it.
You can see that Grassy Seed really paying dividends.
Yes.
Sure, it's going to double your speed, but the side effect that no one talks about is that extra added defense.
Yes,
and
sir.
Sneasler, who is so frail, usually running that focus sash, people can forget that it can become a little bit of a physical tank.
Yes, sir. And then now we get a little bit of that extra recovery. I don't think it's going to be able to live another attack, but who needs to live another one when we can just go for these knockouts, and I'm the fastest thing on the board. So
this is such an interesting board state now because you still have terrestrialization in play for Adam, and you're in this board state where you have the Focus Sash Mousehold, you have +2 on your defenses in front of these two physical mons. Are you able to just try and claw your way back with all this recovery that's coming through, even perhaps preserving the terrestrialization for the fire terrestrialization Hydreigon in the back?
I think the recovery from a Drain Fist and the grassy terrain is a nice sizable amount, but is it still going to be enough HP currently to outlive 2 attacks from their opposing Pokemon?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure.
So Mousehold going for the Protect here. Let's see how Liam reacts to this play.
Going for acrobatics into that slot. Okay, we're still here thanks to those defensive boosts.
But going for that Drain Punch.
Nice. Goes before the Rillaboom. Okay, that's a nice amount of recovery we're going to have here. And a
Yeah.
little bit extra, we should still see a little green
Yeah.
on this Annihilate here.
We're going to see not only the leftovers, but the grassy terrain, maybe just finishing this turn, but giving you essentially an eighth of your health back. So where that Acrobatics did do a good amount of damage with that doubled base power, taking in the fact of the +2 defenses, the Drain Punch recovery, and both 16ths of recovery from the leftovers in the grassy terrain, I think that was a net gain for Adam.
Absolutely, absolutely. We still haven't seen a terrestrialization here from this Annihilate, so I'm very surprised by that. But also, in this situation, these two Pokemon are pretty low on HP. Are we going to be able to find a knockout on both of these Pokemon in this turn with slower Pokemon to boot? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Adam could still get a lot of value out of both of these terrestrializations. That Ghost on the Maushold would make you immune to the close combats, and the Water on Annihilate, which he opts for, will make you not as susceptible to those Terrafire flamethrowers.
Absolutely. But of course, there is the nuclear third option, which is a Draco Meteor into that slot.
my
So maybe
goodness.
going for a follow me.
No
Like he
protects.
did. No protects.
No
We have a
protects on
follow me.
Liam's side.
Okay, so that means we're definitely locking into attacks. Dire Claw going to Maushold, not going to be enough for a
What will it
knockout.
do? Poison.
Poison? Okay, that's not too
good.
bad.
That's okay, because Adam is aiming to end this game in a few turns anyways.
Nice, nice. Okay,
Whoa.
Maushold goes down. We still have Annihilate. If we can take out this Hydreigon, maybe there's a chance. Drain Punch into that slot. Okay, not a lot of recovery. That's not what we're looking for, but we got the knockout. And, of course, the leftovers and the terrain is going to give us two sources of healing here.
Yeah, so depending on the EVs of these Pokemon, as we saw, that Hydreigon being faster than the Gholdengo Game 1, I guess, translated over to it outspeeding the Annihilate 2, letting it double the Maushold and knock it out before the Annihilate even got a chance to move.
Absolutely. And we're getting more HP than we started out at the turn, which is amazing right now.
Yeah.
We just need to lock in a 2v1 scenario, and Annihilate might be able to do it. Gholdengo coming into play. Rage Fist is looking prime for that slot
Yeah.
here. But can he survive the double?
Checking his stats, you know, guilty as charged. I've done this before. Yeah, I think maybe the best play to do here, if I'm Adam, is maybe go for that Protect and see if
What's going on, yeah?
to see if one of Liam's Pokemon opts for the Protect as well. Because if you were to call that wrong, that could very much spell the end of the game for you. In this 2v1 situation, you know, you open yourself up to a lot if, say, the Gholdengo protects and the Sneasler fishes for that status.
Yes.
There's a lot that can happen.
Dire Claw
no
comes
protects.
in.
Dire Claw comes
What are
in.
we going to see?
Nothing.
Nothing. Rage
Okay.
Fist making the mark.
Let's see that.
Big
knocking
game. Oh,
out
goes for the
Sneasler.
Sneasler. Okay, you know what? I like this. We're
Yeah.
going to eliminate the RNG threat of Dire Claw and try to see if we can outlive
How much
whatever
will this
Gholdengo does.
Do.
Okay,
Annihilate lives.
we're surviving here. We're trying to bring this into game 3, baby. Let's see it. Rage Fist logging in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think now that we know that the Annihilate is faster than the opposing Gholdengo, this Rage Fist is just such a safe play. This will
Awesome.
allow
Awesome.
for the Gholdengo to get knocked out and to send us into a game 3.
There it is, and that's what I'm here for. I love those game 3 hypes, baby. That's what I'm here
Yeah.
for. I live for this. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now we're in a situation. We're in game 3. We were able to weather the storm through whatever Liam was trying to push on us. And Annihilate pulled through the defensive bulk investment. Very important. Made it so that Annihilate can do what it needed to do. And Maushold, again, the pivotal Pokemon, that follow me turn. So important.
I think Rillaboom almost kind of contributed to doing
Yes.
Liam in, because
Yes.
in bringing that, giving the Annihilate so much more
have
recovery,
recovery, yes,
when
man.
Adam is opting for this sort of like protect the king playstyle between the Tailwind, between the setups, between the Friend Guard Maushold, you're just giving it so many turns in which it can redirect and heal up and heal
Yes,
up. And so
yes.
if I'm Liam, I'm almost questioning, is Rillaboom worth bringing in this matchup? And on the flip side, does that allow Primarina to come in?
Interesting. I'm not sure. What I am sure about is Murkrow did a decent amount, but I would probably consider even not bringing it in this game because it just doesn't do as much as you would like it with that Tailwind. It didn't seem like it was a necessary thing that you needed, right? There's not a lot of speed control over here on Liam's side outside of this Sneasler, which is extremely fast, of course, and it's doing the job that it's meant to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I think.
It's
Man,
tough. It's tough to
I
say.
think Sneasler absolutely has to come.
Yes, of course. On Liam's side.
On Liam's side, like the Sneasler, it's popular for a reason. It allows for you to make your opponent just that much less comfortable in the plays that they make, because a misplaced Dire Claw can just really turn the tide of the game. And so, man, if I'm Liam, I'm really trying to think of how I can continue to adapt to this. Maybe playing a little bit slower, trying to pivot around my fake out Pokemon, but that doesn't do anything into the Annihilate. How do you check the Annihilate? Maybe perhaps going for something like that slow, the Rillaboom and the Golden Go, trying to outpace with something like fake out, Nasty Plot, try and just set up and outpace the Annihilate. Try to ignore it until you have enough boost to just give it that one-hit KO.
Well, here we go. Third game. At the end of round 5, we see the Mouse on Annihilate lead versus Sneasler Hydreigon. I love the lead in too.
Yeah.
It's a hood classic, I gotta say. Like, come on, it's Annihilate, baby.
Yeah.
We try to go monkeying around, and we bring the Mouse help friends trying to get us in there. And now we have the option of side beat up.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a whole new ball game out here, and now Liam's a little shaky right now. Like, okay, what do I do?
Yeah, I think you leverage so much offensive pressure instantly. You have to make the Sneasler try and
Dire Claw?
Yeah, you
have to roll the dice and get that sleep. I feel like it's so important.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that Liam can do to react to this, whether it's switching in the Rillaboom, trying to double up that Mouse Hold or Annihilate before it moves, but let's see just what happens this turn.
Okay. Oh, Hydreigon being withdrawn. That means that's a whole slot not doing anything this turn.
Yeah, bringing in the Rillaboom, ensuring that no matter what the Mouse Hold does, the Sneasler is going to be faster.
Okay, Sneasler will be going for an attack. It has to be that Dire Claw. I don't see anything else coming out.
Yeah.
Maybe into this Mouse Hold slot.
It could very well be that Acrobatics straight into the Annihilate to get that preliminary chip off. Let's see just what happens.
Okay, a Terrestrialization going into the Annihilate. We're going to be this water typing now, which is pretty good for our Rillaboom that we brought in, because now we are threatening with these Grassy Surge boosted Grassy Glides.
The Acrobatics going into the Mouse Hold. Critical
hit.
Not even trying to go.
There's the beat up. I don't know. I don't think it was worth it. I don't think it was worth it. Okay. We're still fast. We're still fast.
Yeah.
We could hypothetically still click Dire Claw in the next turn. Go for the Grassy.
I wonder how this +1 defense will match up against this Rage Fist. It should get the knockout.
Oh, no. What Dire Claw? What Dire Claw?
Oh, my goodness.
No. This is not it. This is not the answer. And now we have the recovery in play.
Yeah.
Perfectly placed for us, thanks to lefties and this Grassy Glide. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all.
Now this Rillaboom's in a really strange position, because obviously you can go for the fake out to try and make sure that these don't redirect. But after a double protect this next turn, it's really hard to see just what exactly could happen and see how Liam could even begin to respond to such an insane turn one. You know, the thing with the Mouse Hold Annihilate is that you cannot play passive in front of it, because as soon as you do that, there's the side beat up.
Yes.
There's the 4-stack Rage Fist straight into whatever Pokemon doesn't protect or switch. You know, you just become so open to it, especially if you don't lead right for it.
Yeah, that Hydreigon switching out was huge. That was not the lead you wanted. Now you're paying the price for it, because that slot didn't do anything. Hydreigon coming back in, but of course Mouse Hold already did the job of beat up. Now it can click Follow Me. It could go for Protect. It could play any kind of mind game it wants right now, because you have to deal with this Annihilate.
Truly, you could just go for that double protect.
Yeah, scouting out here is actually pretty valid as well.
Yeah.
Going for Follow Me and attacking, pretty valid as well.
You make sure that the Rillaboom can't fake you out on either of your Pokemon.
Facts.
Though, I suppose Adam realizes that he's ahead of where he doesn't even need to do that.
What? Another switch? I'm not sure.
To the Gengar.
Okay, interesting. Gengar being here, Drain Punch going into that slot would be a complete whiff. Not going to get any recovery out of that. But we have a healthy Hydreigon on the other side. Yeah. So is that really what we wanted to do to protect? I think. I don't know if I don't know if I agree.
This is very interesting, because if that Rage Fist goes off into the Focus Sash Gengar and it gets disabled, there is no way to hit this opposing Gengar now.
Okay. I see the technique.
If the Cursed Body activates, this could be very bad for the Annihilate. and it doesn't.
It does not act. Wow, very fortunate here for Adam. That was kind of scary.
Yeah, because you turn off Annihilape's nuke button. It has to set up in order to get value out of that Drain Punch since the base power is pretty low. But now you're just in such a scary position. And Liam, having revealed all of their Pokemon, having already taken so much chip on this Gengar, how do you respond?
Quash here could be huge. Tailwind could be equally as huge here. You know, I did say take out the Murkrow, but now we're in a prime position with it just because we switched up our leads. Murkrow with the Tailwind right now, pretty nice.
Yeah.
Quash is also pretty nice. It's all up to you at this point. This is free real estate.
Yeah, there's so many options from both sides, but Liam just being so oppressed this whole time with that incredible lead call from Adam has just been constantly on the back foot every single turn, you know, making switch after switch, protect after protect, trying to play around anything that Adam can leverage, but going for a more passive turn with the protect and the Tailwind, ensuring that he is faster than these Pokemon.
Okay, Shadow Ball going into a protect. We're pretty safe. Of course, I believe Hydreigon probably went for a Draco Meteor into that slot, which protected. But now, all of a sudden, we're all sped up, and now we're going to start really going for some head hunting.
Yeah, I mean, Murkrow having that speed stat in order to punish this Gengar, you know, we did just get confirmation that with the Tailwind up, that Murkrow is going to outspeed any and all Gengar with the Focus Sash. Going for that foul play, ensuring the knockout lets you just attack into this Hydreigon however you'd like.
Okay, looking for a switch here. I'm not sure if we really need it right now, if anything, honestly.
I think this is no time to take your foot off the gas. I think you continue to pressure and pressure because of the turns of Tailwind that you have.
Yeah, you want to capitalize on all these turns. Annihilape switching out.
Adam making the switch.
Interesting.
I wonder what the game plan is here. What could he have possibly been anticipating? The Gengar switching. Okay. This going into that Rillaboom, we already know it takes a chunk from a potential foul play that goes straight into that slot, doing about half. Okay, and the Draco Meteor, the Gholdengo catching the Draco Meteor on the switch and resisting that hit. So I guess Adam is playing to whittle down Liam little by little. You know, whether it was necessary or not, you know, up to interpretation. But the fact of the matter is that it's now a -2 Hydreigon and a Rillaboom that can't fake out that Gholdengo. And it has the choice specs. It has the option for all of this offense. And there isn't much that can be done about it with 2 turns of Tailwind.
You know what? I respect Adam in this position. Playing it safe, playing to his outs. I'm not going to give you something if I don't have to. A switch in worked out really nicely here for him, right? And now we don't have to worry about this board positioning on the opponent's side at all because my Pokemon can do whatever they want. And you got to switch out that Hydreigon if you want to have some incredible attacking power. Because right now, -2 special attack, you're not doing anything that's threatening at all. So another switch out comes out in the form of Rillaboom this time.
You have to think that if this Rillaboom is switching out, the Hydreigon has got to Terra Fire. No, it goes for the Protect.
Goes to Protect.
Continuing to stall out that Tailwind.
Okay, stalling out the Tailwind is reasonable here. You're going to be bringing back in this Rillaboom, of course.
And crucially, this Make It Rain connecting on the Gengar and knocking it out means that now at -1, knowing what that Gholdengo is locked into, the Hydreigon can very comfortably tank the hit even without a Terastallization, which means that, you know, Liam could potentially claw this back. You know, you can play to clear these two, but that entails you having to get around the Annihilape in the end game as well.
Yes, Tailwind did peter out just now, but there's nothing stopping our dear friend Murkrow from clicking that button again. I'm not sure.
Was that the last turn? I believe there may have been 1 turn left, and that was the end of the grassy terrain. But
okay, that was grassy terrain. Yeah,
yeah, right, because I believe there's 1 turn left of this Tailwind, which is why Liam backed into a corner, had to make this decision. And now if I'm Liam, I'm going for that Terastallization to fire on the Rillaboom, faking out the Murkrow so that I can't go down to something like that foul play, and then just gunning for that Gholdengo. But we'll see just what they have cooked up for this endgame.
I think Adam is playing very carefully, very safely. I'm pretty leaning forward.
No Terastallization, no fake out, and a critical hit on the Hydreigon.
No, wait, that was huge. so big. There's no way now. That's got to be it.
Yeah,
Foul play
and
going
that
in.
looks like it's game. A
That's
critical
locked
hit.
up.
2 critical hits
Oh,
to get
man.
those double knockouts and lock in the game for Adam, moving on moving on with a 4-1 record to this next round.
Very respectable, very nice, very demure. It's a very solid win. It's such a good game. Well played to both players. Adam just able to just clear it out in that end. That game 1 looked pretty heavily Liam sided, but that adjustment in game 2 and then in game 3 again by Adam, not prepared for the mouse hold, not prepared for that Annihilate lead, changed the entirety of the match. Especially after the first 2 matches, you're expecting to see the same Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, I think making that lead adaptation, realizing that, like, if you're going to play with Annihilate, you can't have it be in the back to come out after that susceptible Golden Goat just goes down instantly.
Exactly.
You know, being able to know that I need to lead this and I need to exert pressure now.
Absolutely.
And capitalizing on that, that was a beautiful play from both players, and that was a great round 5. We'll be back very soon for round 6. The final round before Top Cut.
Yes, don't go away. We're going to be seeing a winning in, and those are always exciting, but we'll catch you in a little bit.